truly it is like a wonder for the eyes, as you might say. We're not geography majors either.
Not every movie's perfect, except for your top 4. Yeah. David Attenborough, throw him in space. I would not be surprised if this movie made $1 billion or got really close to it.
$1 billion?
It's not $1 billion. They do not know what moisturizer is. They haven't had a drip of H2O or felt hydrated in years.
On this,
I got you, brother.
On this table right here.
Hold up. We're gonna do this again because we did this before. Yeah, now he's got to do it. And welcome back to another episode of Pinoys versus the World. My name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And yes, we are coming to you live from the living room again, the L-shaped couch, now with 3 different angles. We got 3 different cameras and matching Rode mics. So, Chris, do you want to talk to the people? You want to talk them through our new angles, our new camera angles?
I mean, this is the most professional setup we've ever done. So I'm looking right now.
Incredible.
Jonas, cut to this. I'm looking at my own camera, the Samsung Galaxy S25.
I'm looking at the iPhone 16 right now.
But
I'm looking at the iPhone 16.
I'm using like the pro video mode. I've never used it before. I've never touched this stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I need to like dial this. I need to feel like I'm a professional right here. So, I'm looking at my phone. You're looking at your own phone, the iPhone. The iPhone 16 is that what you said. And then we have my Canon M50 mirrorless camera on a tripod that we normally put Harald's phone on. So we have a wide angle. And it's got like we just have a wide angle, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And we're oriented in a way to where we can just
well, now we can just talk. See, this
we
is
can
the
just
thing.
talk. I can pretend that all these cameras don't exist. We can just pretend that we're just in the living room, which is really nice.
Look at this.
Even though, you know what, if we want to look at you, we can do that.
Look at that.
So
I'm staring right into the soul of everyone watching this. All 45 people.
I just want you to know that you're in the room with us as well. All 45 of you,
seriously,
are in here right now with us.
Well, and it's the beauty of a cheeky intro for why we're actually here today. But I mean, we're even going to keep it on pause a little bit more because there's other things to talk about that have been really huge, and perfect time to use 3 different angles. This is the start of a 2026 to 2027 Oscars cycle, which is very exciting. I guess you'd kind of consider it 2026 for the 99th, in preparation for the 99th Academy Awards. And that's super exciting because we're here today to talk about probably one of the best ways to get started with that in this pro setup, Project Hail Mary. But before we even get to that, there have been some crazy trailers going on the last few days, Chris. I'm just going to ask you to throw us into it. Are you going to look at your camera? Are you going to look at your angle?
I'm not looking at, I'm just looking at that camera.
This is natural.
Looking at that camera right
This
now.
is natural.
Yeah.
But dude, insane few days here in the Nerdverse of trailers. I mean, I guess you could kind of put them both under IPs, but Spider-Man and Dune Part 3, we got new trailers. How'd you feel about them?
I mean, they both look amazing. They both look great. I mean, the Dune one, I was really like, first I was looking forward to it because, there was like at least a day in advance. I think it was like, they dropped it on TikTok first, which is kind of weird. So it wasn't directly at like the 9 a.m. But like when it dropped on YouTube, I was like, I went right out here to the TV that you can't see right now, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch this in 4K, and it was really good. I mean, it looks a little bit different. I mean, we're gonna talk about the cinematography of Project Hail Mary, which is done by Greg Fraser, who is not working on Dune 3, but it's Linus Sandgren who's doing Dune 3. He did Wuthering Heights, he did La La Land, he did First Man. He did Saltburn.
Stacked lineup.
All those movies look really good, and so you can just kind of tell, like watching that trailer, that it just like looks a little bit different than the first 2 Dune movies. Like I can't really put my finger on it. I couldn't tell you exactly why. I've never done cinematography before, but it just looks different. And then also too, I believe Dune 3 is set like 17 years after Part 2.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like mid-war. Anya Taylor-Joy's she was a fetus in the in Part 2.
Just a flashback or a flash forward?
Just a flash forward.
Premonition.
Just like a premonition, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like a vision. And so now she's actually going to be in the movie as apparently a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. But also too, the 17-year time jump. Timothy Chalamet, we're gonna have to believe that Timothy Chalamet is playing an almost 40-year-old man.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's got there's no water left in the universe. It is quite apparent that everywhere has become Arrakis because they do not know what moisturizer is. They haven't had a drip of H2O or felt hydrated in years. Everyone's got the most cracked skin I've ever seen. You see Florence Pugh? oh my god.
Well, yeah, in those promotional posters.
Promotional photos. But that's the thing. Is it going to
Yeah.
translate to the screen, and like how big are the crow's feet going to be on Timmy's face? I don't know. Because how are you going to make him look older, slightly receded hairline? Well, he's bald as hell. Doesn't even matter. You got to get the wrinkles in his face probably. But he's always kind of teetering the line of could be an 18-year-old or 40-year-old man in many of his roles, or even just like living day to day. So are you confident they can make him look like a 40-year-old?
No, and I don't think they're gonna care. Honestly, I don't think they care.
That's not what we're here. I'm there to know when we're gonna get the chanting scene in the movie, because I had chills
true.
already.
The Fremen chant in the trailer.
The Fremen chant led by Timmy himself
from Paul was very interesting.
Stilgar leading the jihad across 40 planets, killing what is it like? This is the thing. We're being very careful about how we talk about this film, y'all, because Chris here has read the book. I have not.
Yeah, Dune Messiah, yeah.
And so I'm not familiar. I'm trying to stay out of it. But it already, from what I've heard loosely, seems like Denny is going in a different direction in certain ways. And it seems like that might be what we're getting, which is exciting because the thing looks awesome to me. So I'm excited.
Yeah, so there are characters. There's like 3 or 4 like characters they're introducing in this movie that are in Dune Messiah. But yeah, definitely the setup is going to be significantly different because of the ending to part 2 is not the ending to Dune in some key ways. Especially what Chani, like, because Chani at the end of the first book, she agrees to basically like fall in line with Paul. And then in the movie, she obviously does not. She goes out into the desert like on her own. So that's like a huge departure from the book, and that like influences everything that comes afterward. So, but again, with the inclusion of those characters, in the trailer, Jason Momoa is back.
Yeah, Idaho question.
I'm not going to tell you why he's back.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you why.
I'm not going to tell you why he's back.
Tell you why.
But yeah, he's back, and then we got Robert Pattinson as Sidetail. We're gonna have a few more characters I can't think of off the top of my head.
It's just third time's a charm, and every time has been a charm. So I mean, I can't see how they lose with this. I don't see how we as the audience lose. It looks super exciting.
Yeah.
And like someone, I'm taking this. I don't know which podcast it was, but someone was just like, "Look, it's Timmy time. He's the villain, obviously in this movie. If y'all thought he wasn't in Dune Part 2, I think it's kind of hard to defend the murder of the entire universe. So I'm excited. But you know who's probably also going to be dealing with a world-ending threat? Peter Parker, emotionally, mostly.
I was about to say, world-ending threats are kind of, I feel like we're kind of over with that.
To him,
I feel like we're kind of over with like actual Earth stakes for him.
Yeah.
But, people are like, street-level Spider-Man.
Street-level Spider-Man. Punisher.
I watched a man-carrying thing video before this. I think it was the one that came out today as we're recording this. It was like, Spider-Man fans 0.002 seconds after watching the trailer, they're like, he's a loser. He's a pathetic loser now.
Pathetic.
This is what I like. This is what I like by Spider-Man. Just a fucking loser. I was like, that's awesome. But honestly, that is a very exaggerated version of the actual sentiment that people are saying online, that Spider-Man is like, oh, he's finally back to street level.
Yeah,
he's got no friends. He's got no money. Maybe college debt.
It sounds like my Peter Parker.
No one remembers him, but he's just doing Spider-Man like all the time, probably.
It feels like we're getting catapulted into kind of where the Amazing Spider-Man movies leave us. Start us rather, not leave us, I guess. But it's that post-graduate life for Peter Parker. We're seeing like a younger adult. Sure, what is he going to be 18 or 19 years old? Does it take place in that 1 year after the end of No Way Home? Guess we'll see, right? But if it is someone just in college, just Peter Parker in college, just wants to go hang out with the homies across the street, just happen to be where 2 of his best friends who don't know he exists are, I'm sure a lot of hijinks are going to ensue. And like we talked about, it's the year of the Mandalorian. We've got, what do you call it? I was just noticing you looking around at the different camera angles. Same. Same. Sometimes I look at the middle. Sometimes I look at my angle. You got your own.
This is too fun. I'm just like looking
it's crazy.
The 2 angles that can see me. That's
the thing.
You can cut that out too.
You can cut that out. Or keep it in, because also you got Ezra Bridger. I couldn't even tell you who plays Ezra Bridger live action, but live action Ezra Bridger, difficult name to say quickly, is going to be maybe the love interest of Zendaya, Zendaya's MJ in this part of the universe we're in. Maybe it'll connect to Secret Wars. We'll see. I'm not really sure how it's going to happen, but it'll feel good to get a street level thing. Maybe we're getting Mr. Negative. Seems like that from the trailer scene where they're like flipping from scene to scene. Also very fun color gradient. I like how gritty it looks in New York. It feels like New York. Anyways, that's my ramble about the trailer. Any final thoughts?
Like the hand is. Did you watch Daredevil?
Yeah. Okay. So I cannot obviously on camera admit to watching it, but I've seen many clips in YouTube Shorts and I do know who the Hand are.
Yeah, because those ninjas
So
are the
I called
Hand.
him.
So I was like, oh, that's cool.
The Jackie Chan,
Jackie Chan
part of
stunt
this
team.
movie is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
The Jackie Chan stunt team part is going to be insane.
Yeah.
Very excited.
And then obviously the Punisher's in it.
Yeah.
I believe Charlie Cox is going to be in the movie as well.
Yeah.
So the Spider-Man Daredevil connection is like fully happening.
It's crazy. It's almost it's coming off the covers and pages of the comics. Some of people's favorite comics. I know some people are a bit kind of mid on the comic that part of this movie might be getting based off of, where they introduce a love interest for Peter's MJ that isn't him. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how the MCU handles it. Shout out, man. Yeah, it's stacked, dude.
Bowie's read Tyler Bowie, friend of the pod, also Spidey Ty. We were talking about the Ezra Bridger guy. Apparently, sounds like his name's gonna be like Paul or something.
Oh no, yeah, that's the character's name.
And it's a guy that apparently nobody likes.
Everyone hates Paul.
He's there to like for no one to like him, so that Peter gets back with MJ more. Again, I'm not too familiar. I'm trying to paraphrase. I'm trying to remember what he said, but I was like, so that's a new character ish. But yeah, that's crazy. Real life Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think the POV shot inside the mask.
Yeah,
was like that was a really cool shot to see.
It's like seeing the F1 trailer for the first time, and when you see it line up, or when the Batman trailer dropped for the first time. It's anything that's got a tight angle on its intended target is just so good.
Yeah. Also, organic webbing. That's cool.
Oh my god, he's Man Spider. Are we getting the mutation of Peter Parker in live time? Is he gonna have 4 arms?
He's gonna have that'd be crazy.
Is he gonna have 4 arms?
I don't think you can deal with 4-arm Peter Parker through all the other movies that
they don't want you to have to deal with.
Yeah, because also that's just we talk about VFX strain. Like that's gonna strain every time Tom Holland would be on screen. He just has 4 arms. Are you kidding me? That'd be terrible.
Even for like 10 minutes. This movie's gonna be 2 hours 40 minutes.
I wouldn't want that for the below the line people's sake. No, that'd be terrible.
Have to track that the whole time. Guess we'll see sooner than not. I guess. Oh my god, July.
Yeah, July 31st, I think is what it is.
So it's the month. It's step over Chris Nolan. It's Spider-Man time. Double dose of Tom Holland.
Does the Odyssey come out in July too?
July 17th. I'm clocking it. Happy late or early birthday, Devin Halsey. That'll be her birthday weekend, I think.
Crazy.
So shout out homie in the pod.
Yeah.
God, we have just so much we want to talk about. But obviously, we're here today to finally get into the main reason we've gathered in the pod to chat about the first big blockbuster movie of this, I was going to say holiday season, Oscar season, Project Hail Mary, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. We've taken some handy-dandy paper notes.
We're out of phones.
We're out of phones, so we can't.
We're out of we're using all our phones as cameras, so we have to look like we're analog and we're smart.
Check it out.
So we have actual notes. My handwriting is terrible, and it was before,
but we wrote.
It was before like big time phone usage became a thing.
Yeah.
But now I'm just getting reminded that I don't have good handwriting. But it's fine because again, we look smarter,
and we're gonna work on our handwriting.
We look way smarter.
I feel smarter.
Yeah, I do feel a lot more intelligent.
But I will ask the people. I will ask the people who are tapped into this part, and if you've made it to the actual review of Project Hail Mary, thank you so much for sticking around. Tell us in the comments if we got something wrong, because this is all we got. We can't check anything in the background. We're not going to ask Jonas to fact check us. We do as much as we can.
There will be some.
We are relying on you.
There will be some space on the screen for really bad fact checking, like really good. If we said something that was bad, he's going to put it over our heads.
Fire right in the middle of us.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some guests on. We'll have a Jared there or a Lark sitting next to you, and we'll have even more people to fact check as we get further along. Anyways. Project Hail Mary. Plenty of stuff we want to talk about in a non-spoiler section here at the top. But obviously there is a major part of this film. Got to say at the very top, major part of this film that we will also kind of give our initial thoughts and opinions on and what we felt about that part of the plot after a short break that we'll take up here. But I think there's a lot of stuff we can talk about in our non-spoiler section here. And I'm just going to throw it over to you, Chris. I mean, we've got a stacked cast, obviously. Ryan Gosling. I mean, that's the thing. Ryan Gosling's carrying this as the lead as Dr. Grace. We've got oh my god, I was going to spoil it because it's in the list of cast, but we can't talk about that just yet. We have Sandra Hüller as Dr. Strat in this as well, and those are the only two really like big level humans that are in this.
Well, if you're a fan of The Bear, Lionel Boyce plays Steve Hatch, the security guy, I believe, government security guy, playing Marcus from The Bear, basically. which is cool. It was fun to see him. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Very cool.
I'm glad he's in this.
Well, and also AT&T girl, Milana Vajentrub.
Yeah.
Shout out. Born in the Soviet Union, we found out. And immigrated to the U.S. AT&T girls. So there are only a few people that you'll notice on screen, and we'll get to something after the break here. But we've got Greg Fraser. We already talked about it on cinematography. Drew Goddard as the writer. Daniel Pemberton on the music. Many people who have worked with the Lorde and Miller duo. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Chris. Non-spoiler initial reviews, and then we'll get into our ratings at the very end here as well. But what did you think about Project Hail Mary?
Yeah, so for context, we did see this together at like an early access screening at South Center.
A few days before.
And then because I won the Oscars pool, so if you watch the Oscars episode, we had like a picks pool, and then I was fortunate enough to win the thing. And so then Tyler Bowie, again, friend of the pod, second mention of Tyler Bowie, he had like an early screening. And so I got the last spot of that. So I was able to watch it 2 days in a row. So
back to back Project Hail Mary.
So and back to back. And I will say the first thing that jumps out is like the movie is just like it's beautiful. Like again, Greg Fraser, who did the Dune movies, who did the Batman, he did the Creator, I believe. He just really like he brings it. I mean, apparently there's no green screen. They say there's no green screen on this movie at all. It's just like all volume stuff and like, not green screen, no, however else you do that. But I mean, the visual effects of this are stunning. I don't know we have a lot of like big franchise movies coming out this year that could be in the running for VFX. But right now, I mean, Project Hail Mary is the early standout to win. I mean, it looks like a documentary at times. There's some scenes in particular that we'll talk about in the spoiler review that just look, you could frame them on a wall. You could frame almost like every shot of space.
Take it right off the IMAX screen.
Take it right off screen, frame it, put it on your wall, make it look all nice. So that's the first thing that is incredible. And yeah, Ryan Gosling is really good. He's by himself a lot of the movie, so he has to like do a lot of like carrying of, a lot of the drama. There are like flashback, like they goes back and forth between him on the ship and then also the events that led up to him being on the ship and like why he's there. And that's where you get a lot of the human characters. But when he's at present day in space, it's just him. Those are kind of like the early standout things, like the VFX and then like the Ryan Gosling performance is like the two things that, when I was going back to the theater, I was like, okay, like I'm excited to see that again.
I have to echo pretty much everything that you said, Chris. But specifically, just the fact that this movie, we're starting the year with such a bang. Kind of like, I'm going to take the words right out of friend of the pod, Jared Geralda's mouth when he walked out and he was like, this is Hope Corps 2026. And it's been a while, I think, since we've seen like such a mainstream movie that's going to have appeal across several generations of people, backgrounds. Like everyone's going to see this movie. I would not be surprised if this movie made $1 billion or got really close to it.
$1 billion?
It's not $1 billion. Why not? Why not? This is why we have the podcast, right? To make calls.
I'm going to take the under on that.
He's taking the under.
I'm taking the under on that because it's not a franchise. It's not a superhero movie.
Right, but that is what
have recognizable IP.
I'm telling
that's what
you,
I'll say.
That is what that is the strength though that I'm leaning on for this prediction of making $1 billion. It's going to make a crap ton of money regardless. I'm only using that cash dollar sign as a way to kind of like basically just tell you all in the strongest way possible, go see this film. I'm sponsored by Project.
Here's the thing: by the time this is probably done editing, we'll probably know what the figure approximate.
We'll know what the figure is. Maybe Jonas
can just put it right there, and you can say who was right or wrong. We can say who was right or wrong from this conversation.
Look, it's going to take a while to hit $1 billion, but we'll have some decent estimates on first and second weekend probably. Anyways, there's something that this movie does that I'm a huge fan of, and I think it'll make the movie a little bit for some people. But it's this kind of flashback technique, storytelling. Like we say, it's very anime of them. The movie begins kind of in this future, but for us, the present, but this future version of Ryan Gosling that's in this spaceship and he's waking up from this deep coma and you're kind of like, oh my God. And that's where the book begins from what I've heard. You're like, what? How did I get here? But as that progression of the story moves forward, you learn with flashbacks that then send you back to before he ended up on that ship and ended up, 7-8 years away, orbiting Jupiter, getting real close to what the main purpose of why he goes to space in the first place. And you get bits and pieces of that past that leads him up to like this continuity, just moving forward, where we're completely in the present. I really enjoy that about the movie. And I think, again, most of the film is in space with Ryan Gosling and this other entity and whatever else he comes across in space. And it's really exciting. But the flashback sequences like really are like the heart and soul of the film for me in a way that I didn't think it was going to be. So I'm a big fan of the way the movie looks. the way it sounds. We've talked a little bit about the music. I think that's maybe one of the things that was a bit underwhelming given how stacked it was. I mean, shout out Daniel Pemberton. He's a beast. He's a GOAT. But it wasn't necessarily the standout of the film for me either. But I really thought just everything, coupling it all together, the performance from Ryan Gosling, and just like feeling so good coming out of the movie theater, man. Just felt like I had a blast. And then it was a great time chatting with my friends about, God, how much I love this movie. So
and that's the last thing I think I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It's like I think you and Jared were talking about. It's very like hope core. It's very much like, it's a very positive spin. I think it's
like an ET. It's a modern kind of ET, and that'll make more sense, I think, in the spoiler section. But it's got this sense of wonder and amazement that goes along with the feel good. That's just the perfect trio. Oh my God, like this is what I needed. I didn't know I needed this, but now I know I needed it.
Yeah, I think the point of the movie is like, look what humans can do when we put our minds to it, sort of thing. Like there's a big crisis in the movie that kind of requires like the smartest minds to come together, and like also like Ryan Gosling's character, Ryland Grace, to kind of like take this big like leap of faith in himself. And then it just kind of shows you with like the power of like, humans and technology, when it all works together to like solve a problem, you can achieve great things. And I think that's definitely the point of the movie, is that like, if we all band together, we can achieve great things. It's not, no robot tries to like kill him in the movie.
No.
It's all very like, it's all work. Everyone's like working together. And I think that's for sci-fi, especially for modern sci-fi, that makes it into theaters. Everything is like so dystopian.
Yeah.
It's like everything is evil and bad. So it's nice to have a movie that's like, you know what? Maybe let's do the opposite and just like do a positive spin on it for a change.
And seriously, we talked about Dune, and at the very top, and that is a gritty ass sci-fi epic, is one of the greatest sci-fi stories ever told. This is probably the first project that's like live action mainstream sci-fi that's really giving me these feelings. And that's what space is all about to me. A wonder of space and what you'll run into. And it's not about humanity, it's about individual. All of the above. I really loved it. I'm going to give it a rating score, very high, 4.5 out of 5. And I'm going to ask you the same. What are you going to give it in terms of a rating?
I'm going to give it a 4 right off the bat. I liked it. I didn't love it. There are some things that I wasn't like, it didn't make it to the upper echelon, for at least for me personally. And we'll talk about that more in the spoiler review, but I guess for now, 4. There's a lot of stuff I really dug though. 4 stars.
Amazing. Well, This is perfect time probably to cut back to me, Jonas. Why not? Let's use this camera. We are going to join you shortly after this break and get into what's going to be a fun conversation about the biggest spoiler of Project Hail Mary. Again, back after this short break. And we're back to talk about Project Hail Mary. Full spoilers ahead. Spoiler. I cannot cut this off quite enough to y'all that it is a huge spoiler that we're about to break. But that being said, I think we're just kind of doing our due diligence, because if you didn't have good folks in your life that were telling you, hey, that have read the book, don't check out any of the trailers or the promo material. Stay far away. Just look at the ones that have Ryan Gosling's beautiful face on a big old poster or an ad, and look away like it's the plague. Because I'm sure it was always going to be a part of the budgeting of this. I mean, look, Andy Weir, who also made The Martian, who wrote The Martian, is the author of Project Hail Mary. I'm sure he was like, sure, we're going to have to put the biggest spoiler of the book in some of the promo material. I'm going to ask you, Chris, what the people probably know, but if they don't know, what is the biggest spoiler of this film? And honestly, got to be one of my favorite parts of the film, but let's get into it. What is that?
I mean,
what is this entity?
It's Rocky.
It's Rocky.
The rock guy that he hangs out with when he stumbles upon his ship, and then it's he's a really smart scientist. First of all, he's a real cute guy. He's a real cute guy. He doesn't have a face, but he's got the cool looking. He's like a spider rock.
Well, maybe we should say at the top. I mean, voiced by Meryl Streep, but more importantly,
voiced by James Ortiz.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Eventually voiced and puppeteered by James Ortiz. Very exciting. They used a lot of practical effects in Project Hail Mary. Like you said, that CGI special effects budget was low because they really stuck to what they could deal with practically and on the computer, right? What'd you call it? What was the other half?
Here's what I'm going to say. This is Amazon's most expensive movie they've ever made. So you can kind of see that on the screen.
Is that from the Beatles music that they had to get? But that's free because they own it?
Well, I could see between VFX and rights management.
Totally.
I could see licensing, because like
surprise, we get Rocky watching Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, Rocky.
We have a scene, many scenes like that.
So so there's like Rocky, and then that's a reference because Also, Amazon owns MGM.
Well, that's what
I'll
I'm
say
saying.
corporate consolidation.
This is the full. The movie even starts. Man, we're starting this off. Woo! A lot of the brain is going a lot of different directions.
Yeah, we're going a lot of different directions.
The movie starts with the old MGM logo, and that's kind of like a feeling like we were saying. You really feel like they're Cook.
Yeah,
like
it's always
when
a
they got
flex.
the old lion.
It's always a flex when a director or whatever can get like an old logo for a studio.
Yeah,
that's when you know it's like, okay, like they have some pull. We can use whatever like assets we want. So that was cool. I liked seeing the old MGM at the beginning. That was actually kind of cool.
It was good vibes from the beginning, just due to that.
Because like Lorde and Miller have so much clout, like they can do whatever they want. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But go ahead, what were you gonna say?
No, just back to Rocky.
Yeah.
Kind of the heart and soul of the film. Like we said, I think it's really cool that they use a lot of practical effects. I mean, obviously, I think you can see that this movie has a lot of swag because it took a lot of time. I mean, no doubt Greg Fraser couldn't do Dune Part 3, Batman, and this. You know what I mean? And like really, you can see like the effort they put into specifically bringing Rocky to life. I mean, again, I haven't read the book, was happy that I got to experience and screen for the first time. I don't think it's the most unpredictable thing, bro, right? That they were eventually going to have some kind of thing he ran into. If it was just going to be Ryan Gosling, like, and himself kind of like a Castaway style, like he starts talking to like a coconut or like some kind of like space astronaut suit. And it was kind of felt inevitable but it did it in such a wondrous way when you see like Rocky's ship for the first time. It's so cool. The design's so cool. And people who have read the book have told me that they could have never imagined Rocky was going to come to screen and alive like this. And it seems like the creators, obviously, Lorde and Miller really had a lot of reverence for the sub or for the text itself, like that they're basing the whole movie off of. A lot of respect for it because, man, it is so cool that they went the Muppet route. I love a Muppet. Like, it used to be the swaggiest thing about Star Wars, and Star Wars just got kind of boring again. But, like, you know, when Episode 7 came back with the puppetry and, like, anything live action, I'm like, give that to me. That's what I want in my sci-fi films. So I throw it over to you again. What other thoughts do you have about Rocky initially, especially like, you know, if we were to be critical a little bit about it? Obviously, we're pandering a bit to the, like, creature type movie, but I think it fits like kind of the vibe of, like I said at the very top, E.T. and a little bit of the magic of season 1 with Grogu and the Mandalorian, and just kind of that vibe with like the puppet figure. It's just so cool to me. It's very wondrous. So how did you feel about it?
Also, I think besides like the effects, I just liked the two of them, like their relationship. First of all, they need each other. Obviously, like they both need companions. Like all their whole crews on both sides have died.
Both sides.
So they need to like
and
come
varying
together.
Numbers too. Like
because like I think Rocky's like 23, and then like,
it's like
Ryan Grace has like 2.
Yeah.
But anyways, so from the very beginning, like they're like it's like a relationship that's also built on like problem solving.
Yeah.
Because first of all, Ryan Gosling's trying to get away from his ship, and then he keeps scooting back. So he's like, okay, what does he want? And then Rocky is over there on his ship, and he's like building like attachments and airlocks, and he's trying to like
building bridges.
He's literally building bridges. Yeah. That's actually good.
Building bridges.
So he's building bridges, and so I like that the first time he goes in, there's no oxygen inside, and he's trying to figure out. He's basically like analyzing him too. It's like, first of all, you're a person, but also you're a human. I'm trying to figure out like where you're from. They're sending like these xenon. I think that's what the gas was.
Right. And they're like, it can't be a gas.
And he's doing solid. And he's doing like a puppet show. Yeah, he's doing like solid gas figurines, and he's doing like puppet shows, trying to like communicate with him. And then as they're just kind of talking to get, he's like, okay, go back. I'm gonna make this airlock with oxygen. So then he can it's kind of like that trust too. You're problem solving, but also trust. So like Grace doesn't want to like take his helmet off. Then he takes it off, and he's like able to breathe, and that was like a cool moment too. And then there's the thing of communication. Like, first of all, they're not really understanding each other very well.
I mean, this is the first time a human has ever come into contact with extraterrestrial life.
With a rock boy.
A rock boy. A humming, vibracious rock boy.
But then they have to figure out how to talk to each other. So they have to make programs. Ryan Gosling is analyzing sounds, putting them to words so that James Ortiz, the voice and the puppeteer of Rocky, can actually have the voice.
Cycled through a few before we got.
They cycled through a few, but they got to his voice, and it's cool because he was doing temp lines on the set with Ryan Gosling.
Mm-hmm, that's
and I don't know if it was Ryan Gosling himself that was like, we should just have James Ortiz do it. But at the end of the day, like people at least on set were like, you know what, you should just do this, and he does a great job.
And
he does a great job.
He just seems so excited to be a part of a project like this. I mean, I was going through a couple of the interviews that are out for him and like the limited run they did. I mean, there's a big interview with Josh Horowitz today that was released with Ryan Gosling too. I would recommend checking out. But of the limited videos out, he seems super excited to be a part of it. Again, it's really like if he's doing these temp lines and he's the guy puppeteering Rocky, the relationship between James and Ryan Gosling has to kind of be locked in as well. So they work well. Their chemistry is very good. And Ryan Gosling's chemistry with the Muppet. I don't think everyone can act with a not like, I guess a lot of people these days have to kind of do a CGI stand-in. I mean, let alone Smoke and Stack. Like you can give up a lot of examples over the last year where people have to act with stand-ins or like maybe a green screen character they're going to superimpose over later. But the puppetry itself comes across really well. I like when he comes in kind of like all spider mode in a octangular, like I can't even like the shape that he's inside that helps him move around the ball, but it's not a ball.
Oh yeah. That was cool.
Yeah. He loved whatever their culture is and the way they build. They're builders. They build. That is an intelligent species. I do like as well a little bit on the language barrier between those two. That it's kind of light implied that that Dr. Grace has to eventually get to a place where he can understand what Rocky is saying, but Rocky just knows what Dr. Grace is saying. It seems like, or maybe he built a device that that's like off screen and then makes it so he can understand him. So we're dealing with like humanity coming into contact with kind of the right creature at the right time. They work well scientifically with each other. They just seem like a couple of bros.
Again, I think Rocky, I mean, like, they're both doing a great job, but I think Rocky is pulling the weight because he is very
scientifically,
smart.
Yeah.
Scientifically, he is very, very smart. But no, like, it's a very, like, symbiotic relationship, and, like, they need each other. But it's kind of set up, it's funny because it's set up kind of like a horror movie a little bit. Like, when they first meet, it's like a dark void.
That is one of the best.
Like, boom.
That's also one of Pemberton's best tracks is Rocky's intro track as well. Okay. Like, there's a lot about that intro scene where, do it again. The fucking boop.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the core of the movie, and I really don't have much more to say on that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe take a little break on Rocky talk. How'd you feel about the music? I'm gonna send this over to you. Big Pemberton fan.
Yeah.
Check out Chris's short about some of the Across the Spider-Verse music.
I'm done plugging that now.
Done plugging that now. Done plugging that.
That's a been there, done that. I got to do more of a what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
But anyways, Daniel Pemberton, so he obviously did the Spider-Verse scores, did the score for this, but he's a great composer and he did a lot of great work, and the score here is like solid, but at the same time, it's not something that like I really like watching it twice. There wasn't any like key like standout moments besides there's one theme that sounds like Rey's theme from The Force Awakens, which I thought was funny. Like the first 6 notes of it, I was like, oh, that just sounds like Rey's
I read
theme.
your Letterboxd review. It was like all just like the stem in your brain for like a musical cue.
Exactly. I was like, whoa, what was that? But other than that, like I wouldn't really, in my opinion, say it was the most memorable in the world. My criteria for like at least for my personal quality of a score is like, can I listen to the movie while just playing back the score?
Yeah.
Spider-Verse, easily. I can easily watch that movie. Ludwig Göransson, like Creed, Black Panther, Oppenheimer, Sinners, like all that. You can hear it. Even like 1917, which is kind of a random pull.
But also but a great pull.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack.
Because it's got great music, and I can watch that movie while I'm listening to the score. So this one, I'm not sure. There are some parts where when it gets like kind of super positive and jovial, when like they're like, oh, let's visit my ship, and at the end when they're like getting all chummy chum, that was a part where I was like, okay, maybe I could see that, because that's kind of like the sense of wonder that's happening, like sense of like collaboration, like look at us connect our cultures sort of thing.
Well, it's like half that too, and then whenever Daniel Pemberton just wants to hit that ergonomic button that just says space type music, you can just like inject a little bit of what makes you feel a little bit like, at least for me, the first time I saw Interstellar. And we had seen Interstellar not less than a year and a half ago in IMAX.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat clear we've seen them both in that same IMAX theater. I would agree. For the most part, the strengths kind of come where it's like it's wonderful space time, and they're connecting across multiple, like they're talking about their partners or lack of partners, and like purpose in the universe, and it's like, all right, yeah, that's probably the peak of the music as well.
Yeah.
For me, yeah.
I'd say also like the peak of like the music and effects, just to kind of tie those two things together, was the part where I think it's like they're like on the Tau Ceti E star or something like that, and they're like analyzing the environment for astrophage, which is like the thing that's, again, big premise of the plot.
Fuel of the
is like killing the sun.
Like literally the fuel of the film.
The fuel of the film is like, it's killing the sun. It powers the ship. And
it's the MacGuffin on this star, it's the antagonist.
For some reason on the star, it's not killing the star, and they have to figure out why. But anyways, they're filtering the astrophage, and they do it, and they turn it on, and it's all red. It's like this red, and that's when like the music swells, and it's just like this like sea of red stars that's all around Ryan Gosling. The light,
it's so cool, man.
The light reflecting off. That was the part when I watched it the second time I was looking forward to the most. Was watching that, because like it is just like you're just like in awe, like you're getting like chill. You're the one
transported
scene,
to the world that they're in.
It's the one scene that gives me chills, because also like the light reflecting off of Ryan Gosling's like helmet and face and stuff, and also the light too is like the lighting is crazy in the entire movie.
Same.
It just looks so polished. And we watched this with our friend Blake, who does VFX like professionally. And he was giddy the whole time.
This guy was jumping out of his seat.
He was out of his seat. I mean, he was locked in for the effects, and like for very good reason, because again, they are amazing. Like if you just want to like look at something very like a space documentary, like something cool to look at for 2 hours, like watch this movie.
Well, it's straight out of Nat Geo.
Yeah.
Straight up. David Attenborough, throw him in space.
There you go.
Why not? Get him out there. No, but exactly, those scenes, like that scene in particular really reminded me of, those who have both played Last of Us Part 1 and have watched Last of Us Season 2. Maybe it was in Season 1. I'm pretty sure it was in Season 1 of the 2 seasons. But Last of Us scene where Ellie is like celebrating her birthday. Joel takes her out, and then they end up going inside of the spaceship, inside of their version of like Mohai or Museum of History and Industry and stuff. And she basically gets this whole, because she's really into space and wants to go one day. How are you going to do it in this world? Joel is probably the best moment of the game and the series itself, honestly. She gets in there and she puts on her transportive cassette, kind of like line her up. I'm like, we're going to space. And then you pretty much snap a finger, which is the same in this film, where you just get a bunch of white particles that makes you feel like, yeah, I really am getting transported into space. Open your eyes or turn off whatever device they had, and you're kind of back fighting for your life. So that's another thing the movie in itself does really well. Balances a lot of really good and fun tones with super intense moments. Like, I guess another thing that we can probably bounce to is this movie feels like it has 3 endings. Mostly because there's a lot of those really high, intense moments where you're like, is Rocky going to survive? Is Dr. Grace going to survive? And they both honestly have moments where you're like, it took one to save the other, and then the other saved the other. And then it's kind of this ending, like, I'm going to help you. You scratch my back, I scratch your back for the rest of the film. But they also pull it off, which not every film can do.
I will say that is actually one of my flaws with the
movie.
Let's
talk about, jump in.
Is the pacing of the movie went in those moments. Because, there is a point, like the last probably, 40 minutes where, in
a 2-hour, almost 40-minute movie.
One of them is in trouble and they have to save, and then the other person gets in trouble and they have to save them. And then there's the end when they go on the planet, and then he makes the biosphere, and like boom, the end. Mm-hmm. There's like I understand, those are big, very tense moments when they're both trying to save each other. But I feel like there's too much of a lull in between. For me, it just kind of slows down. That was the most, I don't know, bored's the right word, but it was one life-saving event after another. I was not very engaged, especially the second time. I was kind of like, okay, I know what we gotta wait this out. He's looking at him. He's looking at his disintegrated trail. Again, first time, very cool.
Oh, I thought Rocky was dead.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought Rocky was out. I thought he was deceased. But then I think the second time around, again, I think that's the big caveat for me is because I already knew what was going to happen. So maybe that's not as valid of a thing. But
that's 5 hours of Project Hail Mary. But in 2 days.
But I think just pacing wise, even the first time, I was kind of like, this is a little bit slow. I still don't know what's going to happen to Rocky, but I think it's a little bit slow. It's kind of a fast paced movie apparently, even compared to the book. We were talking to friend Chloe as well that it was fast paced in a fast paced book. But that was the part where I thought it was kind of slowing down. Also, too, I did want to ask you about the comedy. What did you think of the comedy?
Dude, It's a funny movie.
Yeah.
I think most of the Lorde and Miller comedy in particular hits really well. It's like the heights of the Lego films, the heights of the Spider-Man films, which they produced, right? They were kind of loosely connected to. 21 and 22 Jump Street. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing, is that you can't go as raunchy in this movie because that's not like what it was, a PG-13 rating, right? Maybe there's like one cuss word said in the entire film. Is it PG? It's like, there's a reason I'm saying it might make a bill, is because it's kind of like, it's pegged again. It's in every type of person movie. So you can't have kind of more raunchy, fun humor that makes 21 and 22 Jump Street so legendary. But you still get a bit of that touch, that comedy I didn't know I was looking for. And there's a lot of physical comedy too, with particularly the puppetry and the puppet work. I really like the scene where Rocky, again, is trying to communicate initially by making these little versions of Dr. Grace, like out of the material. Yeah, the material he uses again. Shows him kind of real science in real time of his understanding and what he can work with. And gets to a point where then, we get the entire incredible and one of the most heartwarming scenes when they're just trying to communicate. So I think the comedy's great. Most of it honestly lands. Do you kind of feel kind of iffy on it, or did it also match up? Like, does this play into the 4 you gave or the 1 that you had to take away? Because that might have been that extra half star for me.
So
that worked for me.
That is a little
You
part.
feel me?
That is a little part of the comedy. Because that is part of like my reduced rating.
Right.
Now I certainly think it is funny. Like I think there are jokes where it's like, I don't doubt that like
it's not a dead movie. I think that is without a doubt, it's not a dead movie.
That like 90, I have no doubt that like 90 to 95% of people will go in and they're gonna love all the jokes. It feels like, the comedy bits there, the comedy like points they're trying to hit, like they hit. And that's what I was kind of thinking about the whole time. I was like, okay, like this is a bit. Like this is a bit. I see the execution. Here's the payoff. Boom, laugh, sort of thing. It kind of felt like maybe that's not
hit the button, audience pops up.
Yeah,
laugh,
exactly. Yeah, maybe I'm not trying to rag on him too much, but like I wanted to laugh. Like I wanted to laugh more, and there are parts where I definitely did. But like, especially watching it that second time, I was like, okay, like I can see the structure of the joke, and it's not really like doing it for me, at least for me. But again, I don't want to go full contrarian. Like I'm not trying to be like contrarian on this. Where like I'm like ragging on the blah.
Well, at the end of the day, we talk about this movie because not every movie's perfect, except for your top 4.
Yeah,
and
except for
your top 4.
Yeah.
And I think you can always be critical. I mean, shout out Ryan Coogler for just taking the most base stance. I don't critique my the people who are also directors in the world.
He's not
his
not
coworkers,
Academy
pretty much.
He's not an Academy member.
Yeah, he's like, I can't be an Academy member for that reason. But we are here to talk a little bit about the criticisms. But again, that's part of it, is that that's why I think it's almost like the perfect, I don't even know if I said it at the top. I mean, this movie's beloved right now. It's 4.4 average on Letterboxd. Like 56,000 reviews. Like, we're in the early stages too. We're recording this the day before, or the day of release, right, at midnight. And at 95% Rotten Tomatoes. Like, it obviously has mainstream appeal with the audience and the critics.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think that averages out to like a good 4 or 4.5 movie, and I think that's what a lot of people are saying too. Especially people we watched it with, except for Doug and Bowie. But we'll let them defend that.
I'd probably say pacing, comedy, music were just not as like, they didn't reach the high of highs.
Maybe
that
not
I thought
so much cons, but like what you're saying, what they could have been.
They weren't quite like super pros for me. But those are like the 3 areas where I was kind of like, okay, like maybe a little more.
Yeah.
The rest of it though, I was like
cinematography, plot,
the acting was good. I did like the editing, because that's very like good practice for like Meanwhile Back at the Ranching is what it's called.
Let's get into the flashbacks. Are those in the pros?
So because that was one thing, as someone who gets lots of edit brain, I could see like, okay, like
edit brain
explosion for that's true, edit brain.
Edit brain. He's looking at my camera. Edit brain.
But you see like you cut back to like the humans, and you see like explosion, like big moment of tension, like what happened, and then boom, cut back to the present, sort of thing. It's like, okay, you're trying to get to these moments to where you have maximum interest in something, but you don't want to keep moving on. You want you're basically trying to create a bunch of cliffhangers in you jump between.
Speaking of March Madness, you're ooping it so you can dunk it down, because like every single time, I cannot tell you how much I love the editing in this movie, because the only time I was like purely flabbergasted was when the entire like oil or like the refinery area where they all hang out fucking exploded, and I was just like, my jaw was on the floor, because it also was such a sweet scene, the way it was like getting me to believe that, oh, it's all happy endings in this film. But I like that it was like the biggest conflict is that like 3 of them die and like the whole place explodes before they're supposed to take off, which then leads to the final thing for Dr. Grace, right? And like us not knowing that Dr. Grace didn't make the decision to go to space, I thought was also a huge pro in the way that the original text is probably written by Andy Weir, but also how it was adapted to the screen. I really felt it. I was like, damn, great move, great chess move.
Yeah, to like withhold that, I'm sure that's part of the story structure too, is like to withhold that to the end. It's like, you know, he's learning how to be brave or whatever in like the present day, and then you cut back and you realize that he did not want to do this at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the way it cuts back and forth is really good. Like sometimes they cut on like movement, they cut on like a pose or something. Like Ryan Gosling will be like, you know, he'll be looking at something and then he'll be like looking kind of similar.
Well, I like the one scene in particular where they like hug each other for a really long period of time. And then it's like a really slow fade to the next scene, like just fade away.
Yeah. So I think there was a lot of like I think Joel Negron was the editor of this. A lot of like good practices. That's what I'm saying. Like it even comes back to like the comedy and stuff. Like lots of like best practices happening for like a wide appeal movie. Some of those things
fit the Lego piece, or not even Lego pieces, but just like they fit the pieces in the puzzle like perfectly.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
In the exact team that Lorde and Miller needed.
Like it's well thought out and calculated for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got any final thoughts on this movie?
Final thoughts. I mean, of what we've not covered. I mean, that's the thing. What's so funny about feeling like you've talked for an hour, which we already have probably about a 2-hour, 40-minute movie, is that we'll probably talk about new thoughts here and there as they come up. Again, if we had read the book, maybe I would have had slightly more to say. Like my only regret is not being smarter, Chris, because I've heard that the science in this is awesome. I mean, shout out Doug Snyder. Couldn't get you on the pod today, brother. But maybe we'll ask you to do a short for us about because he was like, there's some cool
for free.
Yeah, for free content. But no, it seemed like as someone with the scientific STEM smarts that he's got, he seemed to say that he thought some of the science in this was exactly as advertised. So fun science as there is probably in The Martian, and it was adapted probably pretty well because in my old Ugu, you know, like Neanderthal brain, I was like Gugu Gaga. I was like, oh, that looks really cool on the IMAX screen. Whatever I just saw, like how they explained different like Xeon or whatever the gas was that turned to a solid. I was like, amazing. I'm running with that. Gotta believe it. And you don't get that in everything. I mean, there's people who have some issues with the science of Interstellar, the science of Space Odyssey, the science of like certain other space movies that I cannot get into because I can only name 2. But that's what I got. Love this film. I mean, again, if I could have spoken more on the science, could you speak more on the science, Chris?
No.
Are you holding out on me, bro?
I'm not a math or science guy.
No.
I'm not a STEM guy.
Edit brain.
I'm not smart enough for that.
You're edit brain.
Yeah.
We're edit brain.
I was a comm major. You were a comm major.
We're comm majors. Actually, so is Jonas.
Smart.
So this podcast is a trio of communication majors.
We're not that smart.
Shout out UW, WSU Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Yeah, the holy trio.
We make it work, though.
We make it work.
We make it work.
We should record an episode of the pod one day that's in the direct middle of Seattle, Spokane, and Pullman, just in the state of Washington. We'll figure it out.
We're not geography majors either. We're not geography majors either.
Man, yeah. I mean, but here, I think you can all tell. There's not much more we can say about it. I guess this movie, if you get a chance to see it in IMAX. It's worth it.
Yeah, definitely see it on a big screen.
IMAX, big screen, stamp of approval from us, I believe. Final thoughts for you. I'll flip it back at you. I gave it a 4.5. You gave it a 4.
Give it a 4, yeah.
Do you feel like you've got everything off your chest?
Yeah, I think it's certainly worth watching. That's for sure. You should absolutely go out and see the movie because it is definitely worth the price of admission if you see it in large format. I think even if you don't, just watching in a theater is like enough because like truly it is like a wonder for the eyes as you might say.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's just technically it is very well made. So a lot of different reasons to watch the movie, and it obviously probably, you know, you like all your friends, your family is probably
everyone out.
Is probably gonna watch the movie
Harald,
anyways.
Help my prediction of $1 billion happen. Go see this movie
together. You can all do it.
Oh,
all 40 of you can do it.
Come on, make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. But yeah, no,
hell yeah.
I'd say go see it.
Project Hail Mary is a great way to start the Oscar season. Maybe that's the last note. We were talking about this. I think this will probably, unless we have 5 other incredible performances, which who knows, we might. Ryan Gosling's going to be in the call for Best Actor probably. I think we'll probably get some love in this for Best Cinematography. Maybe a bit of Best Editing. Again, visual effects and special effects maybe as well for the puppetry. How are you feeling about we're a year away. It feels silly to say, but also it's in consideration. We're in that time of year.
It's a year away, but like, come on,
dude,
like,
come on. It looks amazing.
It looks timeless. That's what I'll say.
Okay, that's a great way to say it.
It looks timeless.
We're making this one into a short. It looks timeless.
It looks great. Also, too, the last thing I'll say, I guess, about cinematography and effects wise, they did that conversion because Greg Fraser, he worked on the Dune movies. And one thing they did was I believe they shot digital and converted to film afterward.
That's insane.
So they did that. They did that for this one. So he came up with the technique apparently, or like he was part of a team that came up with the technique.
How do you even do that?
They shot digitally and they converted it to film, and then that's what So it's got like there's some particular parts where you can definitely see the film grain. Like that last scene where like Rocky and Grace are hanging out on the biosphere. Those rocks are like, they look super grainy. They look like they're like 2001.
It looks like Palo Alto, bro. It looks like Santa Barbara.
It looks like
a little bit of fog.
It looks like a modern like Space Odyssey shot, which is like really cool. So,
or like the best parts of like the big shots from the creator and like Rogue One. There's also a bit of people who worked on those.
Everything that Greg Fraser works on.
Every lens good. He looks through will produce something that you'll never forget.
And one thing I was thinking about too is just like glaze. I'm sure he's glad to work on a movie that's not a bummer.
Yeah, seriously.
Because all the creator, time. Rogue One, the Dune movies, they're all like, man, isn't this place screwed?
I'd probably say that Rogue One is ironically the most hopeful.
That's
of
true.
them all.
That's true.
But
even though a lot of people die and the Death Star like basically is a nuclear bomb.
Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Like we were spoiling it. No one fucking dies except for RIP. The three random like people
That's
you
true.
kind of get to know.
The deaths are like at the beginning of the movie when you don't know who they are.
Yeah, but it's like the couple, right? It's like the couple that's kind of like, oh, everyone's just gonna hook up and like kiss and like eat good food and drink and play karaoke all night because we're all gonna go to space.
There wasn't a lot.
We're not coming back from this because that's one of the things we didn't mention.
Now that I think about, there's another thing we didn't mention is that there's a really random dark thing because when Ryan Gosling refused to go to space.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's last note.
Yes, the last note that I can't believe I forgot. I can't believe I didn't put it in the notes. Basically, they're like, if you don't want to do it, we're going to make you do it. We're going to do it by force. So, like, people start coming in the room.
They're like, please don't make me do this.
Yeah, she's like, Sandra Bullock's like, please don't make me do this. And they basically just like chase him through the complex, and then someone tackles him. And then they drug him and they put him in a coma, and that's how he gets into space.
And then he wakes up with a coma tube, an induced coma tube down his throat.
With amnesia as well.
Crazy, dude.
So it's crazy because they knock him out and they completely like erase his memory. And it sounds like that's probably a part, as a non-book reader, I assume that's a part in the book that they delve into more because that is like way too dark to just like gloss over. That was the one part, and I think that maybe that's also contributing to my rating because that is a weird tonal shift.
Okay.
That is like, what is happening?
No, honestly, I mean, but that's what's so funny about movies, man. I don't know if I thought I saw that coming more than eventually, not at the beginning, not even halfway through this film, but like leading up, the whole conversation they're having, I was like, after everything that's gone wrong, they're going to give them the choice. But like, I do agree that the way that they film it and the way it's shot is like, whoa, shaky cam. Whoa, he's getting stabbed really fast.
Yeah.
There he is.
Because I understand,
present.
Because I understand it's like maybe it's a more like realistic way of being like, well, you may not believe in yourself, but I do. But it's a weird way to do it.
It is the most feel bad part of the Hope Core movie.
Yeah.
No, crazy. It's really just like it feels like a period piece of a time we haven't even reached, watched by people 1,000 years after that moment happened. The moment that saved Earth, starring Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Which you have to assume. I love how they ended. It's kind of like, we got to save Earth, and the boys got to hang out more.
Yeah.
They're just bros. They just know how to like. They're gonna use that. They're gonna use the fuel. They're gonna connect. It's gonna be great. I like to think that everything in that universe,
for sure,
started rebounding really well because that looked like a hellhole. That looked like Ice Age. That was Ice Age. They were in Ice Age.
Well, because again, the temperature of the Earth went down 10 to 15
10
degrees.
10 to 15. Are we talking Celsius? No, Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit's still insane.
Yeah, it's still insane.
Yeah, still insane.
It's 10 to 15 degrees is whatever.
Don't come to us for the scientific periods of this film because we got nothing for you.
I don't think really. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was about to say, I don't have a lot of scientific smarts, but what I do have, excuse the hat hair. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, hold up.
Wow.
Is this the close cut?
Is
this the close cut?
What a smooth transition that was.
The logo center.
I don't think we should cut on that. I think we should just watch him do that. I think we just watch Harald try to pivot.
Oh my God,
by changing his hat.
This is terrible. We're just gonna do the chin. This is a crazy cut. Oh my gosh.
Wow, perfect execution.
Perfect execution. That's right. We're talking about live action. One Piece season 2. Something I'm going to keep to spoiler free.
That was a crazy
That's a
segue.
crazy take.
You didn't even, I was not prepared for that.
This is what I was saying. He wasn't going to be prepared for that.
I was not prepared for that.
How do we feel about this in the comments below? Let me know if you made it this far, or in the short we're going to make about this. My God. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Straw Hat that's on my head, the Mugiwara pirates.
Yeah. You're going to be talking this now? You're going to be talking at me. So I'm just going to.
I'm going to be talking at you. You have not seen season 1 or season 2 yet. I got to tell you what made me a huge weeb and what got me really into One Piece. We've talked about it on the show before. Is the live action. I guess we're doing the single cut now. I'm going to keep it brief because there's not a lot I want to spoil, but also I got to talk a little bit about things to come. One Piece, which has been out for our entire lives, have had a blast catching up in the manga and have been eagerly awaiting season 2. The additions of Vivi to the crew, Baroque works, maybe the introduction of Miss All Sunday. If you don't know who that is, I'll keep it a secret. But season 2 just continues everything that season 1 did that I really enjoyed. Like if let's give season 1 of the live action. Yeah, I give season 1 of the live action a 7 out of 10. I'm giving season 2 of this live action 8.5 out of 10. That's why I had to go to the out of 10 so I can get the 0.5s because it's almost nearly a perfect season of TV, I think. And I think everyone who hasn't watched the anime is going to enjoy it. The performances are incredible. Inaki Godoy, Taz Skylar, Emily Rudd, McKenyu, Jacob Romero, the entire Straw Hat crew. And then we get Michaela Hoover. We just talked about her. She was at Emerald City Comic Con where my family, my auntie, uncle kindly got me this hat, handing out these straw hats. She's playing the beloved Chopper. They brought Chopper to life, which was awesome. We got the Giants of Elbaf on episode 3, Little Garden. It looks amazing. Oh my God. Oh my, how do I even get started? Whiskey Peak. McKenyu, Zoro versus 100 Baroque work agents.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like I said, I got to stop myself there because we're going to get into some spoilers as a whole. But I just wholeheartedly recommend it. And I think what was really good about season 1 somehow elevated. And I've got people like Dan Murrell talking about One Piece. Did I ever think Dan Murrell was going to talk about One Piece and say he really liked the live action season 2? I didn't think so. And did I have faith that Netflix, the creator of the live action Cowboy Bebop, was going to be able to do this? Absolutely not. So it's full credit to Matt Owens, the entire crew, all the actors I've talked about. I mean, man, we're eating good right now, Chris. Man, cut to Chris. And obviously, as you can see with Chris's facial reactions, I mean, look, I'm not going to keep this any longer than it has to be at this point. But yeah, in some fun additions, I'm going to keep the actors on the low so you can check them out and experience seeing them for the first time. I mean, Buggy returns, all these great subplots. And, they changed some stuff. So if you're an anime manga only, tap into live action, you might learn some. Ichiro Oda was involved in everything that had to do with this entire show. The Godfather himself. Chris, would you like to get a word in? I'm gonna switch.
About what?
I mean, what do you think about One Piece?
What do I think about One Piece?
Are you excited about One Piece? I'm gonna do the set change while we're on him.
I have met like outside of like our friend group, I do meet people sometimes where it's like, oh, like they're like really into One Piece. Like last week I was at a birthday party. Another guy was like super into One Piece, and I was just thinking of like you and like a few other people that we know that are like into One Piece and have made the commitment. And so it's like I feel like once you're in. You're in.
It is unfortunately a cult, but not all cults have to be
Yeah, well, but obviously you play the One Piece
core cult.
You play the One Piece. You go to the One Piece like trading card openings and stuff. So
you've seen those.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's been right here on this. No,
I got you,
on
brother.
This table right here.
Hold up. We're gonna do this again because we did this before. Yeah. Now he's got to do it. Folks. I have Kristen and
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained by our wide? This is a wide angle shot. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm looking at that camera.
Yeah,
right
I was playing that for a wide angle shot.
Yeah.
But wow. Let me at least do you this. Let me ask you what you've been watching. I got my piece out about my One Piece out.
You got my piece about One Piece.
You all heard my piece about One Piece. Like I said, not a lot I want to talk about, but just hard recommend. Check it out. I was very excited about it. It paid off. 8.5. So that's what? Like that's a 4.25 out of 5. Let's run it. We're gonna get into decimals this year. You better believe it. Chris, what have you been watching? And I'm asking you that because it's a leading question because I already know what you've been watching because it's a movie we're both going to talk about.
Yeah, because we both watched it separately. So we both watched this movie called Undertone, and it's a horror movie that's about it's a podcast horror movie basically. It's very like sound based, but it was at Sundance Film Festival. I could not get into the screening because it sold out like instantly. And so, fortunately, it didn't come out like too much later, so we were able to watch it like this past week. And so I saw it in Dolby. I saw the Dolby Early Access, and I'm very confident that is the best way to watch it because the sound design in Dolby with all those speakers is amazing.
Because you saw it in Dolby, I saw it in a normal
regular
quote
theater.
unquote,
and it
AMC
sounds like
theater.
it was not as immersive.
It was good, but
Yeah.
obviously I feel like knowing how good the Dolby surround sound
Yeah.
systems are.
And I think that's probably contributes to my 3.5-star rating on it, is that because the sound was so like dialed in across the speakers in the theater, I had a really good time with it because, you know, it was very directional. In that format is really good. There's scenes where like they start on the center of the screen and they travel all the way throughout the perimeter of the theater, and they come back to the middle of the screen. So I thought that was really cool. The podcast premise was like, again, it was a little iffy. It was a little iffy. Yeah, it was kind of, you know.
Well, I was about to say if I could jump in there, because I think I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5. Obviously, I think a bit to do with the lack of quality sound in my movie theater, and I just mean that like the theater sounds better than even like a regular surround sound, like in your in your living room that we're recording, and you have a pretty decent surround sound system. But like a movie theater will obviously just go beyond that. But if this is like C tier, I saw B tier, you probably saw A, S tier, and the movie really hinges, I think, on how immersed you are with the sound. But at the same time, I think it's still good enough where I would recommend this film. But I do think like where I wanted to butt in and agree with you is like I just think the premise and how the buildup kind of happens. Like, unfortunately for me, I'm in this point with Undertone where I'm like, I really enjoyed the original premise. I felt like it was a very original film. I felt like a podcast horror film, even if it's produced or released by A24, right? Could have been an absolute disaster, like way worse than a 3 or a 3.5. But I think like almost like the way the movie is sandwiched, like the beginning and the ends are like peak. So good. I'm interested in the beginning, pulled in by the weird audio recordings, way too many audio recordings. But then when it kind of becomes like audio The Ring, I get really involved again. But in that, a lot of that middle ground, I cannot lie to you, I put it in my Letterboxd review, we were chuckling. It was an unintentionally hilarious film that like I just felt like there lies the biggest issue I have with it is the writing. And really for an 1.5-hour movie, if I'm talking about plot and pacing, then maybe we need to go back a little bit to the drawing board about the writing. But again, love the beginning, love the end. I love the horror elements at the end where you're like, oh my God, the devil is like it. Like there's a demon in this theater right now, right? Is that how it felt? Like at the that last 10 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
If we're in full spoiler talk about it, like,
it ends on a black screen where
crazy.
The sound is literally like it's you're just kind of imagining it.
Yeah.
I know some people did not dig that.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed that.
Okay.
Because of the Dolby experience.
Fire.
I could see where it's like you're watching in a regular theater or at home and you're just like, okay, whatever. Like you're gonna end it. I could see how people
gets so exciting.
I could see how people think that's a cop out. I
Yeah.
could see how people think that's a cop out. But I personally enjoyed it. So
Fire.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like I enjoyed it as well. It was a really fun. I just jumped into Pacific Place AMC like 9:50 showing after going to dinner. I was like, what movie's going on? Shout out AMC A-List. I can just pop.
Oh,
in
that
the
was
theater.
just kind of on a whim.
I was on a whim.
All right, cool.
It was kind of packed in there, but again, it was kind of crazy that we were laughing half the film. There are some questionable dialogue between the host and the off-screen host as well. I mean, another movie would talk about Project Hail Mary that only had 2 people really talking the entire time, which was crazy.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of like, oh my God,
you
won't believe
no.
this. Whoa.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Can we
I'm
talk
like,
about that
stop.
scene?
Yeah.
Like the most terrifying moment of the movie when that baby's getting thrown around. Holy shit. Because that's what this demon does.
Yeah.
Just like kill kids and they're like unborn children. It's crazy.
Yeah.
In that sense, it was really interesting. But yeah, I was like, take it or leave it. The better podcast movie is The Secret Agent. Kidding. That's a rage bait. You feel me though. Tell me you feel me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, no, seriously inventive in many ways and fell short in others. Last words.
Fortunate enough to just watch it at all. So I, didn't get a chance to see it at Sundance, but I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I saw it in the format that I did. It's the optimal way to do it. That part is worth your time. The problem is I don't think it's ever going to be there again. So, but again, if you're interested in sound as a profession, or just sound as kind of like an enthusiast, it's an interesting movie because it does play with like your expectations of what you think you're going to see. And for some people, like that might really dial you in. Other people, you're like, oh, there's nothing on the screen. Like nothing is there. Like nothing actually like really happens in the movie. It's a lot of what she thinks she hears, of what she thinks she's going to see.
It's a lot of what you think you're going to see.
Yeah, a lot of what you think you're going to see. That's
exactly.
true. A lot of what the audience thinks they're going to see. And for some people, that's going to work, and for some people, it's not. But for me, it worked. So that's what I'll say. I'll leave it at
Amazing. That leads us to the end of a mammoth episode. Thank you for sticking to the very end of what is another episode of Pinoys versus the World. As always, executively produced by Jonas Hyllseth.
And edited by Jonas Hyllseth. That's a really big.
Edited.
That's a really big.
Put it in the portfolio
for this particular episode. This first big 3-camera multi-angle
and
episode.
Hopefully every episode coming forward. Comments below. How do you like the switch up?
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, all the good stuff. Follow us on Instagram at Pinoys Versus. And I'll finish this another episode of Pinoys versus the World by saying my name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And we will talk to you all in the next one. Peace.